Hello everyone, JRDeal96 here with a brand new reaction. As you can tell by the title, it's another Markiplier related video, and it's another Distractible animation from the legend known as Sir Walter Underbridge, and it's part 3 of Bob's Fridge. Now, the last animation we actually watched from him was the one about, Chica and a weird robot vacuum that liked to leave some interesting marks on the floor. But in terms of the Bob's Fridge, saga, part 2 ended with probably one of my favorite moments, and probably what made me laugh the most in the episode, was when he did, Bob went on this tangent, like, the guy was like, oh, he sees this bush, like, oh, this bush is in the way, and he's like, no, it's not, let's go! And in the animation, literally, Bob just literally yeets the square bush up, and it just goes up into space like Team Rocket does most times in every Pokemon cartoon. But I'm assuming that the rest of it is pretty much the entirety of what he had to deal with, which was with Bob, which is pretty much the delivery guys are looking at him for instructions. The whole thing about finding an emergency shutoff thing, like a little alternate way to another way to get water in the house, and the guy's smug. See, I told you there would be one. Like then the phone guy on the phone, I'll just get right into it. So let's get right into the chaos once again. So without further ado, let's react to this video, shall we?
Welcome to Distractible.
Hopefully no static interference like one of my recent recordings
this
happened.
Week is Bob's Fridge. Enjoy
the show.
Okay.
No, it's not.
I don't know, man.
No, it's not.
And so there's a whole series of finally I'm
Mark dying is so hilarious. You fucking idiots.
Like, you're not gonna wedge that pipe.
They were trying to put it back on, like, oh, it'll fit. It's not like you just,
we gotta turn the water off.
Rammed it in full speed with a giant fridge.
In charge of this was like, right.
The water main.
And he handed me the pipe and was like, hold this on there, like that was gonna do something? Like, he was holding it on there, and when you have a hose and you put your thumb over it and the water sprays out? That's what he was doing. He was not keeping any water inside of anything. He was just holding this pipe down and spraying water fucking everywhere. And he was like, you hold this, I'll go do the... And I, took it from him, and I did it for a minute, but I was standing there like, this isn't doing anything. Like, as I was doing it, I was like, he said hold it, I'm gonna hold it.
The eyes.
Hold this. What is this doing?
Look at the bald spot.
Set it down.
Is that like a little error there?
He's on the street. Each house is a line that comes off that main line that goes into the house. And so down where that connection is, where your water meter might be, there's usually a master shutoff, a main thing. But also, I didn't know this. Apparently there's a main water shutoff inside the house. And so the one down by the street was really difficult. It wouldn't budge. It was seized up. This house was built in the 70s. It's fairly old. And so this pipe has been down here for a long time.
The guy doing a
handstand.
handstand.
Just wanging away on it with a wrench and spraying it with WD-40. And he's asking me if I have tools, which I get that it's not part of his job to
necessarily. They're delivery guys. I get that.
But these dudes literally were looking at me like I was their part. Every step of the way, they were like, it's not turning. Both turn and look at me.
What do we do?
And I'm saying, you're like, this doesn't seem like how you install a fridge. I don't know. I have different expectations. I'm as confused as you are.
This does not look like how you install a fridge.
Googling on my phone, dummy number 2 were hitting the
dummy number 1 and dummy number 2. Thing 1 and thing 2. Clown 1 and clown 2 over here trying to figure out what do we do here.
And there should be an indoor shutoff. And I go start looking around my house frantically for any sort of valve I can shut off. Finally, after a solid half hour of water fucking destroying my backyard, flooding our patio,
hour
By the way,
of
they
just
left
this.
A brand new fridge that they had bragged back there. He got it a full 3 feet away from the water explosion before he set the fridge down and was like, let me
Fuck
fix
it.
this. So this fridge is literally sitting in a muddy puddle getting sprayed with water for half an hour. Which, to be fair, I did not think of either, but I'm out here like my mind is exploding with rage. That these guys are fucking broke because it's not fixed still. So finally I turn the water off and everyone calms down for a second. And I look at these guys and they look
What the fuck is up with Bob's hair?
Sure, what did they just do? And I look at them and I'm like, okay, so how do we fix this? Like, do you have a plumber that you call? You call your boss? Like, you did this?
How do you fix this?
And he looks at me and he's like,
oh, you're gonna have to talk to Lowe's about that.
Apparently, these fucking guys don't even work for Lowe's. They work for a third-party company that Lowe's
Bozo's.
That's
funny.
Everything's falling out a little. I'm still so mad that I'm like, they looked like they were a little scared of me because my face was not pleasant. But I'm like, okay,
no
I'm
shit.
gonna call Lowe's. You guys go do the fucking thing, put the fridge in there.
Just at least do the fridge, I'll call them.
And my first thought is, okay,
you'll get the endless loop like beforehand, right?
Because I just did this for a whole week. I call and miraculously a human answers the phone.
You have to people,
like, hey,
you know, tied up over there.
Rip the thing out of the ground and flooded my backyard, and there's an active water leak. How do we fix this? And they said I should contact you, and he's like, yeah, just a second. It puts me on hold right away.
Get this information or you're ducked.
So I'm on hold for a couple minutes. Comes back. He's like, okay, I talked to my manager. So what we have to do is you give me your information, like your name and your address and whatever, and we will initiate contact with the company that we contracted to do the delivery. And in my mind, I'm like, wait. I'm talking to the guys who work for the company who just damaged my house, and they said I should talk to you. So the process is they direct me to you, who make contact with them on my behalf. It's a whole thing. At this point, I'm like, all the water is off to our entire house, right? Sinks don't work, no running water whatsoever. Hopefully this will be fixed fast, like tomorrow, maybe today, if we're lucky. And the guy's like, yeah, so we'll make contact, and then within 24 to 48 hours, they will reach out to you and start the process of getting it scheduled to get this fixed. And I'm like, okay,
is the hair intentional?
Is off to my entire house
as him losing his sanity?
That maybe
is that the reason?
Hours, maybe we can start the process of maybe getting this fixed. And the guy's like,
because I just find it odd that his hair is like slowly disappearing.
This is the process. This is the process. And I literally, this is the point where I started to lose it. Like, I generally am super cordial. I've been a delivery driver. I've worked in food service. I know what it's like when people are totally shitty to you, and you have to try and maintain.
I've dealt with shitty people too, and in my supermarket job.
Terrible to me. I'm always like, oh, you know, I appreciate that. Like, try and be nice. And I say to this dude, like, what the fuck do you mean? This is the process. You hear me, right?
Oh shit!
Your company
he's coming right through the phone, like, motherfucker, fix my house.
I start swearing at this dude. I start saying like, what the fuck? Like, this shit is
he's beat red.
Broken right now. My fucking house doesn't have water, and he literally, I think I broke him a little, and he literally pauses and is like, do you not want to do this process? Because this is the only process. I'm like, I almost fucking threw my phone. This one random dude at the store is
fucking Mark and Wade in space.
In
space with Markiplier.
I almost yeeted my cell phone
into
space.
Into the sun.
And so I go
fuck the fourth
thing.
wall.
Apparently, we're fucked at this point, right? We're just not gonna have water for God knows how long. Up to 2 days at minimum. In the back of my mind, like, there's no way this is how this is resolved. This is completely unacceptable. But I know if I just call an emergency plumber myself and have them come fix it, there's no way I'm getting that fucking money back. Like, they're not going to pay me. They're going to be like, oh, you fixed it. Good.
Thank you.
And then never call me again.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
this poor bastard.
Point, I just calmed down.
I feel so bad for Bob and what he had to deal with this shit. And the guy
is like, well, there should be a way to turn off the,
this is what...
You should have a separate water supply. And I'm like, oh yeah, where would
this
that be?
is where I feel like I would have been mad too in his situation.
This is a new house, man. I don't know. Like,
the guy on the unicycle.
Like, nah,
what the
I don't know,
fuck,
man.
juggling?
Every house is different, but there should be one. Like,
this guy's juggling in the background.
Like, okay, are you gonna help me turn that off? And he's like, well, we're almost done with the fridge, and then we'll be out. So you're gonna leave me with no water
and a theory.
And a theory. About
okay, I get it now. It's intentional.
And this dude was he's not fucking out.
It's intentional. Okay, I
there's
see.
definitely a way to do what I'm talking about. You just have to find that.
Because I was like, what the fuck's going on with his
You
hair?
can tell, because I'm still livid. I
Shove the guy out of the way.
A different spigot in an area where never gets that turns off the water flow.
Get the fuck out of my way.
We can have water in the house.
Trying to get my water back on.
Right as these guys are almost done with the fridge, I find this and I come in and I'm like, hey, I think I found the thing. Like, is the fridge hooked up? Can I turn the water onto the house? And he's like, yeah. We're all good. He looked me right in my fucking eyes and was like, see, I told you there'd be a thing. This fucking guy who just ruined my entire morning, damaged my house, damaged an irrigation system that's probably so fucking old it doesn't even, they don't even make replacement parts or some, there's gotta be some dumb shit from this. They're like, oh, we can't fix it. Oh no, well it's good. We can fix it in like 2 months or something. There's gotta be some fucking fallout from this. These fucking guys, and he looks me in my stupid bright red face and is like, see, I told you so. In that tone, my fists clenched at my sides. I have never been in a fight. I am not a confrontational person. I am generally polite and cordial with everyone, no matter how much of a dick they are to me. He said that. I didn't say shit. He said that to me. I clenched my fists and my jaw and just went, and just walked out to the garage and turned the water on. As I'm coming back inside, these dudes are gone. They are gone. I come into the house. I look
They're gone.
And the thing is not gushing. And I turn on the sink real quick, and it's working. And I'm like, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. It's fine. So we have water. The thing is, the irrigation is still broken, but it's isolated, so it'll be fine. We'll just get it fixed. It'll be fine. And as I'm standing at the sink in the kitchen, I'm looking out the front, and the dudes are, like, frantically, like, tossing their shit in the back of the truck. Like, tossing the tools, tossing the garbage that they had, the whatever.
Frantic.
Close at the back, and I'm like,
they can't be leaving.
Don't I have to sign something that say that I accepted this expensive appliance? They're just gonna leave it? They just fucking yeet everything from the truck and
took off.
Motherfucker,
and just took off.
Not another word. They knew what the fuck they did.
You knew what you did.
They were fucking gone, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was my expression and my fist clenching, or if they were just planning to do this the whole time. And now, so right before we started this, Manny texted me from the other room and is like, hey, water's not coming out of the fridge. Is it supposed to be getting cold? The fridge isn't cold and it doesn't seem to be working. And I just went out there and looked at it. It's not cold.
That wheeze from Wade, Jesus Christ.
There's no water coming out. I'm hoping there's like a first time setup or some shit that you have to go through.
I think there was something that was left out in the middle of the street.
But like, if they set it up incorrectly,
oh no!
They're like, leave, get out of here. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
File a lawsuit.
I'm just gonna start punching or something because I have rarely felt this angry in my entire life at anything.
If they ran because they knew it was broken.
He ate his own hair. Jesus Christ. Do you have trichophagia?
Like all the water had somehow short-circuited something in the pump or something like that. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. I'm so sorry.
Do you still not know if your fridge works?
No. When I came back to record this, it was still 80 degrees inside the fridge and the freezer, and no water was coming out, and there was no sign of any reason why that would be happening.
Yeah, everyone listening at home, please understand. This actually happened an hour ago.
Yeah. This actually happened.
This all started at 9:30-ish a.m., and it's like it's just after 1 p.m. right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. There's nothing I love more. And I know it's not pleasant for you, Bob, but there's nothing I love more than
indignant rage, Bob.
It's happened like 3 times.
It's happened very rarely. There was one from the tour that was corrupted, and then from Gary's mod.
Well, the first dudes broke something else, right? The gas line was.
Yes.
Yeah. So
the first guys broke the well, not necessarily break, but they caused the shutdown of the gas line.
Accept it anyway, and they screwed up the gas line, which was an easy fix. The problem was more than I didn't know that the earthquake shutoff thing even.
The earthquake detector meter.
What that was? It took me like 5 minutes to fix it. So right now in my backyard, there's a piece of pipe with a relay on top of it, laying in the backyard. There's a dirt all over everything on the patio. Like, it's this very first world problem. It'll clean off. I understand that. But, like, My whole backyard's a fucking explosion mess right now, and the fucking gall on that dude.
Yeah,
like,
I told you
step
so.
Of the way was that exact same tone of like.
Yeah, I
See,
told
I
you.
told you.
Let me check it. Hey, let me measure it.
It sounds like the needs more mud.
Yeah, that fucking drowned man shit. Holy shit! When Wade had to deal with that shit with his house, it needs more mud.
See, man,
Well,
told you more mud.
it needs
fix
more
it.
mud. Wow, you got your own Patreon, I see. Ding ding. Oh my god, I was hoping that, you would include that little bit there with, the whole, oh, it needs more mud. Because it's just that's what I feel like it reminded. Like, obviously, it kind of felt like something that would happen to Wade. Because of, obviously, if you don't remember, the whole series of The Drowned Man, well, it was more exaggerated and over the top, added a supernatural element to it, because Mark is a genius. But, Wade had to endure a lot of, issues with his pipes and, leaking and, stuff in his plumbing in his house that he lives in. A lot of it. Like, the doors were blown off, I guess. Also, for some reason, there was water leaking from the ceiling fan, the, like, AC, shaft thing, and, weird places and other places too. And also, that caused Wade to go, Molly's taking a bath. Did she just... and then that made him panic, that kind of thing. And, luckily that wasn't the case, and Molly was perfectly fine. But, that whole saga, the whole, like, oh, let me measure it, that kind of thing, obviously, is almost like something, with those guys, instead of re-putting new pipes in and putting in new walls and new ceilings and new everything, no, let's just put more mud on it because there's so many cracks on it. It starts to sag, like that whole thing. And then poor PJ, I think that was his name, he poked a hole in it and was covered with sore shit. Watery shit. Like, dude. Like, it's so... the incompetence of some people. It's just like... Dude, I hate dealing with people like that. It's one of those things I cannot stand. So I can totally understand where Bob is coming from. When he kind of felt very annoyed by the guy when he found the new, the master, the way he can be able to turn the water back on in his house without causing the water main outside to go bursting again. So he was able to keep the, the water in the house, but there's no wolf filtration system, whatever. I don't even know. Something that he said. But, the one detail I noticed throughout this whole thing, of course, the whole thing, was the disappearance of Bob's hair. For some reason, I thought that was a little error in the animation process, but I kept seeing less and less hair out of Bob's head. I'm like, the fuck? But then I'm like thinking, is this part of the bit here? Is like, as he starts to lose his mind more and more, he's starting to lose his hair. So, and obviously he started to rip out his hair. And I'm like, there you go. So that's why. So it was intentional. Because he had like a bald spot in the beginning of the video, and then by the end he was completely bald like Wade. So I found that odd. But anyways, I jumped all over the place. But when he had to turn on the water in the house, and that one of the delivery drivers had that smug, see, I told you there'd be something down there. Like, I would totally, be very, very pissed at that tone. And I'll be like, okay, says the person who destroyed the pipe outside because they didn't think of logically, let's turn over the fridge a little bit more so it's taller so it could fit through so that you could not so you didn't have to deal with this whole mess. Yeah, I'd be very annoyed too. I'd be very pissed off too. if I was in his situation, if I was in his shoes, I would be very annoyed. I'd probably be 10 times more pissed. Obviously, I would not resort to violence, but I would be very, very annoyed and very, very pissed because I hate it when people have to be that smug and, arrogant and, shit like that. It's just one of those things I hate. And I dealt with people like that at one of my jobs where I work in this deli department at the supermarket. I remember like a couple years ago, not necessarily asshole, not necessarily like how the guy was like, see, I told you, but more or less just really was really such a fucking asshole. He wanted a pound of turkey. This is going by what he said. I'm going based on what he said. So he goes, a pound of turkey. And he doesn't specify which one. He doesn't say, because the thing is, we have multiple kinds of turkeys. We have regular turkey, low sodium, honey maple, cracked peppermill, Cajun, blackened turkey, pastrami turkey, Sausalito, no salt added, just that kind of thing. And he didn't specify which one he wanted. I think I cut maybe a pound of regular turkey at first, but he's like, no, I didn't want that. And I'm like, didn't you say you wanted the turkey? And he's like, no, I wanted a pound of this turkey. And I'm like, what turkey do you want? That one! He just points, expecting me to know which one he's talking about. He doesn't say which turkey. And you know what he ended up wanting? Low sodium turkey. This is the one thing I hate with customers. When they're not specific, they just say a pound of ham. Which one? Like, seriously, which one? There's multiple kinds. And then they get mad at me because I gave them the wrong brand when they weren't specific enough. I asked them too, and they're like, oh, whatever. It's just one of those things. It's just like, but that guy was really getting on my nerves. He was getting on my nerves. But I kept it together, of course, but I was like, thinking to myself, what the fuck? And then after he left and I helped, finished helping the guy, some other customers, it was even on a Sunday too, a lot of the other customers that who witnessed it, looked at me and with, sympathy, like, man, that guy was a fucking asshole. Like, they were like, dude, yeah, that guy was a piece of shit. But the only thing I remember about that customer is that he was wearing a Minnesota Vikings t-shirt. So you have this stupid Vikings, logo on this purple shirt. I guess he was in a very bad mood because I guess the Minnesota Vikings were choking out another playoff, game. Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember exactly when it was. I think it was 2015 or 2016. One of those years. Or, they were choking out another game because it was Sunday and it was football. It was during football season. During the NFL season. But anyways, enough rambling. Overall, I really enjoyed the animation. Sir Walter Underbridge killed it once again. I loved, the whole thing, and I loved each and every minute of it. It's laugh out loud funny. Just the whole that whole episode in general was probably one of the greatest things. I was so surprised because the thing was, I didn't listen to it until like maybe a month or so later because there was a period where I kind of lost track of time and wasn't able to keep up with the podcast because I remember when the podcast first started around this time of last year, I was trying to stay up to date with the podcast. And then, a lot of other stuff got in my way and I wasn't able to keep up with it. So I remember this one day I had at my newer job that I got at the time last year. I spent the time to listen to every single episode that was available to me. One of the episodes happened to be Bob's Fridge, and I swear to you, I actually listened to that episode twice in a row instead of going right next to the next episode, which was the Hold My Beer episode. But the thing that, you know, they even followed up a little bit on the fridge. The reason why that, you know, the fridge was still at 80 degrees was because I guess there was a little tube or a piece from the fridge that was somehow left outside in the middle of the street, outside his house. Like, the guys who delivered the fridge just, for some reason, just did not consider putting that in too. So then after that, he was able to fix the fridge, and the fridge perfectly works now to this day. Like, really very fascinating, like, how this was not necessarily like a normal Distractible episode. It was just like Bob's, you know, misfortune that he had to endure that day that started around 9 in the morning and ended around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Like a 3-hour period, like almost a 3 to 4 hour period of just absolute insanity. God. But, you know, with Distractible, you know, it's a great podcast in general. Their recent episode they just did with Wade's secret words. That episode to me was the funniest one in a while. Probably the funniest one since the funniest joke in the world episode. Because it starts out so civil and they're talking about like certain stories like, oh, the worst date they ever been on, or, you know, things they fear, and, you know, the weird stuff that they've encountered, or just weird, you know, foods they like to eat during, you know, the summer, you know, all that stuff. And then next, it's like the second they start to catch on, because Wade wasn't necessarily telling them how many points they got, but not until the end. But it was like, then next thing you know, like, you know, Bob and Mark started to catch on to what Wade was doing. And then, you know, after like the third round, the fourth round, and then the fifth and sixth round was literally just nothing but Bob and Mark just randomly screaming out words. But with Mark, it was more funny because he was trying to add in a specific color to each of them. Like, you know, green coconuts, golden beaches, brown trees, my midnight blue iPhone. My green Dell, you know, laptop, you know, that kind of thing. Just he kept making specific colors and just like, why does he think that it's color based? I don't know. Anyways, that's really it. I really enjoy the animation. I'll link, you know, Sir Walter Underbridge's channel in the description, and I'll leave a card to his channel at some point during the video. So yeah, pretty cool that I finally got my wish. So that comment that was on the actual, you know, video of the episode itself got so many likes, finally came to fruition. I guess maybe Sir Walter Underbridge saw that comment at first, and he's like, challenge accepted. I doubt that, but I feel like, you know, my initial idea was have multiple, you know, talented animators that have done animations for Mark to collaborate and do specific, you know, amounts, like how Sir Walter Underbridge did it. Like, they do one segment, the other one could do a different segment, and then another one could do the last segment, like something like that. But, you know, this guy did all of it in less than a month. It came out back in April, beginning of April. So, yeah, it's crazy, you know? So now, I think the Distractible podcast just became 1 year old recently. I don't know. It was around this time in May that it, you know, it debuted. And I guess the best way to commemorate, you know, the 1 year anniversary of its, you know, of its starting was with U2 figures. U2's figures! Like, wow, man. This is Mark's third U2's and Wade and Bob's first. And I love the fact that the, you know, U2's are based off this logo slightly, based on how they're positioned. Like, Mark has the glasses, like, you know, in the logo. And the way that Bob is positioned, even though his outfit is very questionable, is something. But the only difference is that Wei doesn't have like a literal bazooka in his hand. So I have no idea. So that's pretty cool that they're doing YouTube figures for Distractible. And I'm very happy about that. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's reaction. If you like what you saw here, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Be sure to ring that bell to be part of the notification squad. Be sure to check out my Instagram because I make collabs with Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and myself. I always turn actors and cosplays on there, so go check it out. And be sure to check out my Tumblr and my Discord in the description as well. So until next time, JRDeal96 signing out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!